Hello, beautiful people. Thank you for tuning in again. So, if you're looking at this by now, you should be familiar with it if you attended the last class, and if you did not, kindly revisit the last class before attending this one for better clarity. So, what did we do last in our last class? We definitely got to discuss about the overview of our Microsoft 365 Admin Center. We also looked at user creation, how to create a single user, a multiple user, and basically templating. That was what we did. So today promises to be very insightful. We'll be deep diving into still user attributes, but now we'll be looking at other things like multi-factor authentication for a user, and how to create multiple users using the CSV, and as well as some other user attributes that you should be familiar with. Okay, so stay tuned, go grab a cup of coffee, and here we go. So, your organization just employed a new user. Her name is Regina Daniels. Regina Daniels is not so tech savvy. So, she reached out to you, being the IT person, and she says to you, "Hello, admin. I was just sent my user credentials, but unfortunately, it's demanding a code. I'm unable to log in, or I'm unable to set up my 2FA account or multi-factor authentication process. So how do we get to do that for the user, you being the IT person?" So for us to be able to demonstrate this, I will just go ahead to reset Regina Daniel's password so I can gain access to it. This is not part of the process. Remember, you have sent her the user credentials, right? But this is just for me to be able to log into her account to pretend like I am Regina. Okay, so there are two ways of resetting a user password. You can do it here, or you can just go ahead to click on the user account and reset the password. Okay, so when you see this key icon, it says reset password. So I go ahead and click on Regina, which is the second way of resetting a user password. Sorry. Then I go to the top. For some organization, they would always require the user to change the password upon their first sign in, but for some organization we retain the password, so we'll just go ahead and retain the password. So remember, this is not part of the process because you have already sent her the user ID and her password. This is just for me to log in as though I am Regina. So I'm going to use an incognito tab and pretend, oh, I am Regina. So what do? I go to office.com. Let me quickly copy her. Copy this. Sorry. Okay, so I come over here, click on sign in. Okay, and Regina puts in her email account. She puts in her password. Okay, let's go ahead and reset her password again. So use the shortcut just in case. We must have copied it wrongly. So there you go. Copy the new password. Paste it. And boom, this is exactly what Regina, just like most of us might have encountered whenever we see this. So usually, whenever you create a user, prior to this time, it takes about 7 to 14 days, 14 days to be precise, before the system is going to ask the user to configure 2FA. else you're not going to sign in. But of recent, Microsoft made it mandatory. Upon every user creation, you will encounter this, so that from the get-go you protect your account. Okay, so let's go ahead and set up our 2FA for Regina. So you are the IT person, remember? So what would you tell her to do? The first thing you need to tell her to do is, hi Regina, do you have any of the Authenticator app? To be more precise, go to your phone and download the Microsoft 365 Authenticator app. So Regina Daniels, she goes to her phone, she goes to App Store or Play Store, depending on the brand of phone she's using. She goes ahead and she downloads Microsoft Multi-Factor Authenticator. So just in case you are stuck, like Regina, go to your phone, go to Play Store or App Store and type in Microsoft Multi-Factor Authenticator app. So you get to download it like Regina is doing right now. So Regina has successfully downloaded her Microsoft Authenticator. So the next thing Regina would do is to sign in. Okay, so once she gets in, it's going to ask her to, go ahead and sign in. Now she might be confused and she'll be like, how do I, sign in? What account do I use in signing in? So you have to tell her to do what? Click on next. Okay. So it brings her here. You tell her to click on next again. You tell her to click on next again. And then it brings her to this page. Then you tell Regina, while you are on your Authenticator app, you would see a plus sign button at the right hand side or at the top right of your Authenticator app. Go ahead and click on that plus sign button. So Regina goes ahead, she clicks on the plus sign button. So if you're having this issue, go to your Authenticator app, your Microsoft Authenticator app. At the top right, you see the plus icon, click on it, and it's going to bring about 3 options: personal account, work or school, or other. Go ahead and choose the second option, which says work or school account. So Regina clicks on work or school account, and it gives her 2 options to either sign in or scan a QR code. And if you see right here, there's a QR code. Okay, so it's easier for Regina Daniel to scan the QR code if she's using a smartphone than for her to sign in. So I go ahead and I click on scan QR code. That's Regina. And use your phone to scan the QR code. So Regina is scanning the QR code now, and boom, as soon as she's done scanning the QR code, she could see that the account has been added. Okay, so she sees MSFT Regina.Daniels at her domain.microsoft.com, and then once you confirm that Regina can see her account on the Authenticator app, you can tell her to now click on next, and it brings up a number 15. So on her phone, it's going to bring up a number matching prompt. So you put in 15 to match the number and you click on yes. That's what you should do if you were Regina. So Regina has done that to test her Authenticator app. So you can see that something is happening. And here you go, notification approved. So you can go ahead and click on next and click on done. So this is exactly how you support users who are having difficulties setting up the Authenticator app. You definitely find a lot of users having these difficulties, most especially those that are not used to setting up any form of authentication or 2FA on their account. So this is exactly what you should do if you're in Regina's shoes, and excuse me, it should bring you to your Microsoft 365 welcome page. Excuse me. The internet seems to be slow kind of today. Bear with me. So you can see Regina is successfully logged in after configuring or setting up her 2FA authentication process. So that is very good and insightful, and that is what you should do if you're having the same problem. So we have successfully configured 2FA for Regina, our new hire. Kindly test that out using your account. So the next thing we'll be looking at today is how to create multiple users using the CSV. So Regina is just one of the hires, right? And let's just imagine you have 100 more people, 100 more people to go, okay? And you don't want to stress yourself. Usually what I would advise is you setting up like a form with the basic information that you would require from the users, okay? So you just get their name and their names and basically just their names. If you do not want to intrude their privacy by asking them their address and everything, you can use the company's address, which is what you should use ideally. So just getting all their names would be very good for what we're about to do now. So now that we have configured 2FA successfully for Regina, we can just go ahead and click outside the box, right? And we go back to our add multiple users. Great. So now it brings us back to this. Remember this, where you can add up to 249 users at a time. But you don't want to do this, right? You want to come over here and say, I would like to upload a CSV with user information. So you click on this. As soon as you click on this, it's going to give you a sample. So this is an example. Download a blank CSV with the required headers, or download a CSV file that includes example user information. So for you who is just a newbie to this, I would suggest you go ahead and download the second option, which is this one. So it's going to give you an example. Okay, so I go ahead and click on open file. It opens it up like an Excel sheet, which it is. So sorry. Okay, so now this is what we have. It gives you a sample of what you can put in here so that you do not make a mistake. So this is an example. So we can just go ahead and work on this example. Now, the first thing is the username. The username is usually the email address, and this is an example called chrisgreen@contoso.com. Contoso.com is just like an imaginary company designed by Microsoft to engage their users or to give you a creative mind. So we have our domain. So be mindful here. Go back to users. So you can just go ahead and click on any of the users. Okay. Once you've done that, you'd see the username and email. So go ahead and copy the domain part, which is this one. And remember, this could be mtn.com, globalcom.com, yourcompany.domain.com. Okay, but this is a test account, so that's exactly how the domain looks like. So copy it out, and instead of you having contoso.com, you go ahead and change it to this, because that's what your email should look like. Okay, so now that we have our email quite set up, let's just imagine Chris Green is the one, or is one of the people that would want to add. So let's add another person, and this person's name is let's call her maybe Hurt and Matthew. So this is her name. So let's make it an email address. So we do hurt.matthew at, remember our domain. Okay, so that's done. You go ahead and click outside, Then you click on the second what do you call it now, the second column. Now forget the fact that this is spooling, or it's it's actually spilling into the next column. Don't bother your head about that. It's an Excel sheet and it understands exactly what column that character is. So what you need to do is you can just expand it by double clicking, right, so that you don't get confused. And her name is what? Hertz. And her surname is what? Matthew. Then her display name is what? It's gonna be Hertz Matthew. And what's her job description? She's a sales admin. Okay. And her department, you can expand this by double clicking at the top, so that you don't get confused, right? Her department is sales. You can leave all of this, you can just put everything the same by just dragging and dropping. Just drag and drop. In real life, you have to put in the correct information. These other ones can be the same when it comes to address and all of that. So alternate email address, she doesn't have another email address, so she's just going to use what she has here. So you go ahead and copy. You can put another email address if you have any, for her, but go ahead and put this. So we also need to change Chris Green's domain there as well. Okay, so since they are working at the same office, the address is going to be the same. So let me just copy this for 2 more people. I'll copy this down again. You're seeing the way I'm doing it, right? You go to the tip. Once you get the cross symbol, you double click and drag. You do the same thing here. Okay, they're all in the United States, but if they're in another region, please do well to type in their correct region, maybe Nigeria, wherever they might be. Okay, but this is just a test and we don't want to spend so much time here. So the next person, let's just give the next person a very beautiful name. I wonder what that name would be. Let's say Max dot, let's use a small letter, dot Henry. Okay, let's do for the last person, let's call this person Success Wisdom. So use a small letter for the email address, wisdom.success at the domain. Okay, so you can come over here and put in their real name, Max Henry Wisdom Success. So you can create a form if you don't want to be doing this, right? You can create a form, a Microsoft form, or even a Google form. Okay, you can create any of the forms. Microsoft form, because this is a Microsoft 365 class, but if you're not used to creating the Microsoft form, then you can create a Google form, but it's quite easy and we might, just touch that as we progress. So just create a form with all of these headers in the form and you submit it for the new hires to fill them out. So when they fill them out, most definitely you'd leave out the username because you will be the one who's going to put the username. But for the first name, last name, display name, you give them an example, job title, an example, department, office number, all these ones that they can fill out themselves. You can just create a form, submit to them, and as soon as they are filling that, everything is going to be populated here, and all you just need to do is just to fill out their username. So for you as the IT person having to create like 100 user accounts at the same time, you should find this very useful. Okay, so let's continue with what we're doing. The display name definitely will be Max Henry, and for this lady here, it's going to be, or guy, sorry, Wisdom Success. Okay, so you can double click here, wait for the cross sign, double click so that it spreads it out for you. So Max is also in sales. Wisdom is not a manager, he is an IT director, let's just assume. Okay, and he is in the information technology department, while this one is in sales, this one is in sales as well. Then every other thing can be the same because of the testing. So look out for the cross sign and double tap and drag. Cross sign, double tap and drag. Cross sign, double tap and drag. Can leave this, just go ahead and copy here. Copy this. Okay. So we are done doing all of this. Let's just imagine they work in the same region, they work in the same office, so everything will be the same. Okay, so look at something here. You know, because it's an Excel and we're dragging it down, it kept on adding the numbers. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, but we just want 1. So make sure you take note of that and change it to 1 because they all work in the same office. Okay, so this is good. This looks great. So what do? We go ahead and we click on save. Okay, so you can do save as. If you want to change the name to something else, you can do save as and then browse a location that suits you if you want. But I don't want to do save as. I just did save, so it's going to save with the same name that it was downloaded. So I can go ahead and close this out now. Okay. So now that we are done with creating our CSV, which is going to be a breeze if you create a form and send it to the users to fill it out themselves. You know, you just get all the information and fill out the ones that they cannot fill, which is the username. So what do? Let's go ahead and click this out. We go back to, we go back to add multiple users. Okay. And then where we were before, I would like to upload a CSV with user information. We already downloaded the second one. So now that our CSV file has been prepared, what do? We go ahead and browse because we want to upload our CSV file and it's in my downloads. So I'll do this. I'll click on open. So now there is an error. This is very good because most of you will encounter errors. Okay, so for you to know what the error is, go ahead and click on view. So let's see, what's our error? Okay, great. So now the error is telling us that there is an error that has to do with what? With our license. Okay, but it's showing as our display name in row 2. So let's go ahead and see if the CSV, if I saved it correctly. So I'll do this. I'll go ahead and open this real quick. Okay, so I uploaded the wrong CSV file. Okay, the right CSV file is supposed to be import underscore user sample. So I uploaded the wrong CSV file. Okay, so now I love what happened here because most of us will encounter errors. Once you see this red error button, or sorry, error banner, the red error banner, always click on view errors and it will give you exactly what the error is. So you see, this is not my display name like I explained earlier. So we needed to cross-check that and we have found that I uploaded the wrong file. So I go back again, I do downloads, it's already on my downloads, I import this. Okay, So you can see that it imported without any errors. So I imported the right file and the file is properly formatted. So I go ahead and click on next. Now remember, the amount of users I am actually uploading, we have 4 users. Okay, so in this 4 users, if you want to give a license, you just go ahead and click on this license option, and it's going to do what? It's going to take 4. It's going to take minus 4 licenses from what you have left. So always take cognizance of that. I do not want to assign any license to my users. Okay, so I can go ahead and say don't assign any licenses to my users. So these users are just going to be unlicensed, right? So I go ahead and click on next, and then you can see everything is properly formatted, and I go ahead and click on add users. Now that I've clicked on the add user, so you can see that the 4 users I have, Chris Green, Hurt Matthew, Max Henry, and Wisdom Success. So you can see that they are properly formatted, and just imagine that yours is like, 100 people. So you see how easy it is for you to create this 100 people. Now, just like the first method of creating multiple users, you can see that it automatically created a password, right? It never gave us a column for password. You can add that column though if you want, before you upload the document, but you don't need to bother yourself with all of that. It never asked us to do that. It created it for us. So how do you get these passwords? You can come over here and say what? Download user details, just like we did before. And you go ahead and click on close. So let's go to our downloads again. Let's just use this. And now we can do open file. So you can see, and boom, you can see the passwords that were automatically generated for us. And you can see over here that they are unlicensed. So we just succeeded in creating an unlicensed user. So if you've gotten to this point, then congratulations. It means that you're following and you're doing pretty well. Okay, so we don't save this. You can now go ahead and share the details with the people that have just been hired. So now that we have discussed, we've covered adding a user, both single and multiple users, configuring multi-factor authentication for a user, right? And we've also covered user templating. I would also want to take us into a deep dive on user attributes, and then we'll round up with a deep dive on multi-factor authentication, if possible today. So now let us look at a typical user attribute. Okay, so we are going to open one of the users. We're going to use Angel as an example. Angel, we have to use your account. Okay, great. So this is what you call the user information. I call them user attributes in Microsoft 365. So what are the properties of a user? Whenever you create a user, you have properties. Okay, now the property of a licensed user and the property of an unlicensed user are 2 different things. So you need to take note. Angel is a licensed user. Okay, Angel is a licensed user. So what we have here is the typical example of any licensed user in Microsoft 365. So let's go ahead and see. The first tab is called account. So in the account attributes of in the account tab of this user's attribute, what do we see? We see her username and email. So Angel has a username, which is her identity, her sign-in identity. So Angel's is just her first name and the domain. For some of us, it is our first name dot our last name and the domain. So let's just imagine we made a mistake. We were supposed to add her last name to her email address. The question is, can that be rectified? And the answer is yes, it can. So how do we change Angel's username to confirm with what we all have. So I'll go ahead and click on manage username and email. So you can see this is the one we created initially. So what we can do is, number one, we can either click on this pencil icon for edit and we add dot her surname, okay? Or let's just imagine we didn't do anything, or we can come over here and add what we want to add, okay? And we'll make it her primary email address. So I want you to notice something. In Angel's username and email, you have something. You have this one, and you can see one Mahidra down. So what does this mean? This is an alias. And what is an alias in Microsoft 365 user account? An alias is like your second name. For example, some of you bear Jacob, aka John Bosco, you know, that kind of thing, or aka Jacobson, you know, that kind of thing. So if I call Mr. Jacobson or John Bosco, he would say hello, because he knows I'm talking to him, okay? So this alias means that if I send an email to this address, right, it will still come to Angel's inbox, because this is Angel's alias. So she bears both names. So if you can call Angel in the email world, you can call her Mahidra at herdomain.com, or you can call her Angel at herdomain.com. It will still go into the same mailbox. So that is what an alias means. So for us to be able to correct this, let's just imagine it was an error. Her email and her username is supposed to be angel.her-surname. So let's go ahead and add it. So I would like to do it this other way around instead of doing that. So I'll do angel dot, let's imagine that James is her surname, okay? And what do we do here? I'll go ahead and click on add. So notice something, it has been added as an alias, okay? So it hasn't changed here as her primary email address, rather it has been added here as an alias. So how do we change it? So come over to the extreme right, you'd see an ellipsis, the 3 dots. All you just need to do is to click on that 3 dots and do what? Change to primary, okay? You go ahead and do change to primary. So you see what happened. Angel.James is now her primary username and email address, while Angel, the first one that was here, has been taken down. So I can go ahead to do this. I can go ahead to delete this, and it's no longer there, and I can go ahead to click on save changes. And what have we done? We have successfully rectified the issue with Angel's email address. So just in case you make you made a mistake in creating a user's email address, it is rectifiable. And I've just shown us how that can be done. So I like to take it back because that's how we want it. So I just go ahead and click on done, and it has been rectified. Okay, so you can see, because I use this pencil, it's automatically, replaced it with what I put in here and brought back what was there initially. So I can go ahead now and click on delete alias, and I can go ahead and click on save changes. So that is exactly how to change, to change a user email address, just in case there is an update, or maybe you want to change it for changing sake, or you made a mistake. So you can see we have our username and we have our alias. The next thing under the account tab is her last sign in. So let's just imagine you want to check if Angel has been signing in after all. So let's go ahead and click on view last 30 days. So this will display her sign in activity in the last 30 days. So if you're a security person, this is a very good one for you. Part of your job as a Microsoft 365 admin or an engineer, you will be checking out things like this depending on what your organization would want you to do. So if you're asking about Angel's whereabouts, you just want to find out her activities, her sign-in activities to be precise, for the last 30 days, you can definitely see it. Now, this is beautiful because Angel has never signed into this domain. Okay, she has never signed into this domain. And then what do we see? We can see that she doesn't have any sign-in attempts in the last 30 days. So for you to be able to view the entire report, you can click on this full report, and it's going to take you to Azure Active Directory. But I want you to click, don't click on it yet, just leave that. We will definitely get there, so you can see a user sign-in report when we start talking about Entra ID. But for now, don't worry, just keep calm. So we go back. So let's look for someone who has a sign-in. I'll use myself as an example. So let's view my sign-in activity. So I go ahead and click on view last sign-in. So you can see my last sign-in activity. So this is exactly how you get to, trace if a user has signed in appropriately, the user signed in today at work, just in case you want to know if the user is at work. This is a way you find out. So you get to see all my sign-in activities, and if there is a failure like this, you can see why. Okay, so error validating credentials due to invalid username or password. What this means is that April 22nd, 2025, exactly at 10:14 p.m., I tried signing in to this, portal, and what happened? I imputed the wrong username or the wrong password, and my sign-in activity was a failure. So this is the reason. Okay, so this is one of how you find out, things. You just find out, okay, has this user signed in today? Is this user having an issue? Maybe the user sent a ticket, raised a ticket to you that he or she is having difficulties in signing in. You can go ahead and view their signing activities and check, okay, what can be the error? Why is this user having difficulties in signing in? If it is not about, validating credentials, you will definitely find out why this user had an error. So this is a very good information for you who is thinking about audit reports and all of that. So we've talked about the account tab, we've looked at username and how to change the username just in case there is a mistake, and now we just looked at last sign-in activity in 30 days, the last 30 days. It can be more than that, but for you to get more logs than that, we need to go to Azure Active Directory, currently called Entra ID. So what do we need to do now? The next thing we need to do now is to look at sign out. So this is another security feature. If you're looking at also getting into security or the security side of things, this is one of the very simple things to do, yet very useful. So we've had cases whereby users have been trying to sign in and they were unable to sign in, right? Why? Because they just got hacked. Someone else has signed into their device and the person probably changed their password from somewhere else, maybe using a third-party tool. The person changed their password using a third-party tool, or it could be that the person did not even change their password. The person just got information and signed in, and the person is now using their identity, their email address, to send out fictitious emails to clients, demanding for money, demanding for all sorts. Like, I've seen this happen over and over again, over and over again during my experience years, even up till now, right? So what do we do whenever we notice that a user's account has been compromised? The first thing we do is we quickly jump into the user's account page or the user account pane, and what do? We go ahead to sign out all sessions. So if I click on sign out all sessions, automatically I'm going to be signed out. I'm going to be signed out, and I will have to re-sign in. So what does this do? If the hacker, right, or the cyber criminal is logged into the user's account, maybe using a mobile phone, and is sending a lot of emails to clients and all of that, or is doing a lot of rubbish with the person's identity, if I click on sign out of all sessions, if the person has signed in into a mobile phone, a tablet, or another laptop somewhere else, because just in case you're forgotten, if you have a Microsoft account, you can sign into how many devices now? TikTok, you can sign into 5 devices. So it's possible that a user account can be compromised, and the person logged into the user's account on another device. Could be a mobile phone, like I said, or could be a tablet. So how do you resolve that issue? You sign out of all sessions. Wherever that user is signed in, it will sign the person completely out of the session. So if the user is signed in on a mobile phone, tablet, or PC, it signs them completely out of all sessions. And what's the next thing to be done after signing the user of all sessions? The next thing that we can do is to do what? Reset the password to a more complex password. So you see, we've just achieved a very important deal right now. So this is what we do just in case an account has been hacked. So we go ahead, sign the user of all sessions, and do what? We reset the password to something more complex, and we ensure that the user has 2FA configured. That's the benefit of having 2FA configured. Even though some people's 2FA can still be compromised because of their own carelessness. Okay, but as soon as we do this, we reset to a more complex password, ensure that 2FA is configured for that user, then the user will be good to go. Wherever that hacker is or cyber criminal is, he or she will be completely signed out of that account. Okay. So the next thing is alternate email address is just like your alias as well. Your alternate email address, you can go ahead and sign in with the alternate email address. So just in case maybe for some reason you want to sign in with a different account, I can use this account to sign in if I wanted to. Okay, so the next one is groups. So you can see how many groups this user is in. Okay, so I can click on manage group, and I can decide to remove, right? I can click on all of them and remove myself from all these groups. Okay, or I can go ahead and assign myself to another group. So that is exactly how it works. So from the user's attribute pane, you can go ahead and assign the user to a group and remove the user from any existing group this user might be in. So it's as simple as that. All I need to do is to go back. So the next thing we need to find out here, or we need to talk about here, is the roles. So you can see I'm a global administrator. Just in case I want to make someone, or give someone another attribute, I can come over here, click on this admin center access would actually be ticked, and then I can select what other role. But you can see this is grayed out. Why? I am the owner of the tenant. I am the president of this place, so you cannot impeach me, and that is why you see it is all grayed out. But if I should go to another person's account, let's go to Angel. So even if Angel is a global administrator, I can change it. Okay, so you see Angel is also a global administrator. A global administrator in Microsoft 365 is the super admin. He or she can do anything they want to do as long as it's part of what they should do. So you can see she is not the owner of the tenant, so she has this admin access. However, it's not grayed out. I can decide to degrade her role and just make her an Exchange administrator or a global reader, and that's all. Okay, and you can assign multiple roles. I believe we talked about it in our last class. You can assign multiple roles to a certain individual. So this is fine. I can just go ahead and leave it the way it is, still make her a global admin, right? So that is exactly what happens when you go to roles. So the next one is manager. Let's just imagine I'm Angel's manager. What do? You can see the information has not been provided here. In that CSV file we uploaded initially, you can have the manager information there. Okay, and once you upload it, it will definitely reflect in the account that you have created with the CSV file. But just because we created this as a single account, we created it manually, I can always come over here and I can select who her manager is, and I'd say she should be reporting to let's just say Ann Jacobs. Okay, so you can see she is Angel's manager. So that's exactly what it is. And now what else can we do in the account tab of a user property? We can also add contact information. Remember, when we were uploading the CV, we added all of these contacts, right? Even up to office phone number and all of that. So if you had uploaded the CV with Angel, you would see all this information there. Okay, let me look for one of the accounts that we uploaded with the CSV, Chris Green. So if I go over here and click on what? Manage contact. So you see everything that we wrote on that CSV. They were all successfully uploaded. So that's the benefit of using CSV. You don't have to come back here and be filling them one after the other. Everything has been uploaded through that CSV file. Okay, so if I click on back, the next thing we can see, okay, no, let me go back because he is not a licensed user. So you can see that there's a difference here. We'll talk about this probably in our next class because the time is running out. So let me go back to Angel. Uncheck. Go back to Angel, and Angel is a licensed user, so we open her up, and then we scroll down. We've seen managed contact, and the next thing we need to see is what? Microsoft 365 activations. So go ahead and click on it. So you can see invite Angel to download and sign in to Microsoft 365 on any device. Deactivating a device doesn't remove Microsoft 365 apps or data from a device, but it will sign the user out of Microsoft 365 remotely. So we don't want to do that. Angel already has an account, and if I wanted her to sign in to a device, just like most of you have done, she can just go ahead and sign into it. Okay, so we don't need to activate her into any other place. Okay, though she hasn't logged in using this account, she's using another account. This is just a test. So if I want to do it for another person, most of you must have done it. You would have logged into Microsoft 365, downloaded it, and logged into it. It has activated your device for you. So that is exactly what that can do for you. So the next thing we need to look at is multi-factor authentication. So remember, we started this video by configuring multi-factor authentication for Regina Daniels. Okay, so let's go ahead and click on manage multi-factor authentication. Let's see what we can find here. So it's uploading, it's going to our Entra ID. So just in case you want to find out the status of a user's multi-factor authenticator, when you click on that user's you click on the user and it brings out the user's attribute. You go under account and you click over here, or you come over here to multi-factor authentication, which is located under account, and you click on manage multi-factor authentication. It will definitely bring you here. So here is the Microsoft 365 Entra ID. It is for identity and access management, and this is exactly where you get to work. You get to check the status rather of any of the users that have their 2FA configured. So I can see most of you are yet to configure your 2FA. disabled, right? Some of you might have configured it because sometimes last year Microsoft made it compulsory. So even if this is disabled, it will still ask you, it will still prompt you to do what? To configure 2FA. It will still prompt you to configure 2FA. So you can see all of these are showing disabled. Meanwhile, some of you must have configured it already. So do not mind this. Just in case the user is having issues with 2FA is when you can come over here, check the user status. Like I'm checking for Angel. I can see that it is disabled. I can go ahead to click on enable MFA. It's still the same thing because Microsoft has made it compulsory. So if I go to user MFA settings, now just in case the user misplaced their phone and the 2FA where the authenticator app is no longer available, or their SIM card, some of them they actually make it go as a text message to their SIM cards, just in case they can no longer receive code in their SIM cards because maybe the phone got missing or somebody stole their phone and all of that. You can always come over here to restore multi-factor authentication on all remembered devices, or you can require selected user to provide contact methods again. So this is the right option if you want the user to start all over again to re-enroll into 2FA. This is exactly where you do that. So if I go ahead and click on required selected users to provide contact methods again, just in case the user like Regina Daniels did it earlier today and probably lost her phone and she's unable to log in to her device, all I need to do is to come over here, select this and click on save. The next time Regina Daniels will be logging in to her account, it's going to prompt her to start all over again to reconfigure or re-register her 2FA. Most of you will not be able to get here because you do not have the access yet, but as time progresses you definitely have the access to do this. Okay, so let's go back to our user accounts, and what can we find here? And we are done. So we are done with the account attribute. Let's quickly rush on this for the devices. Now, if Angel, logged into any device like a laptop with her account, you'll be able to see her device and the Entra ID. Okay, over here, but you will not be able to see it here. Why? Because it has not been enrolled in what we call Intune. So Intune is a different platform provided by Microsoft to manage devices. Okay, it's not part of this course. So because her device has not been enrolled to Intune, you will not be able to see her device here. Okay, so the next thing is licenses and apps. Just in case she doesn't have the appropriate license, you can always come over here, remove or check whatever it is that you want to do. Is just to assign or delicense a user, and that's all you have here. And remember, even if the user have all these licenses and applications, so this Microsoft 365 E5 developer license gives the user access to 75 apps. I, as the global admin, even herself as the global admin, and you who is a user administrator, you can also come over here and just uncheck and say, no, Angel, you're not going to have access to Exchange Online Plan 2, which gives her access to 100 GB of space. No, you're not going to have access to Flow Free for Power Automate. You're not going to have access to this. And if I click on Save Changes, even though Angel has an E5 license, she will still be unable to log into Exchange. She will still be unable to log into to use Power Automate and all of these that I have unchecked. Okay, so please take note. So you see all these things we are doing, This is not far from what you'll be doing in real life once you get a job. So please take it seriously, understand it, be able to explain it to people. Okay? So the next one is the mail. So because Angel is a managed, because Angel has a license, okay, meaning that she will have access to an exchange online license. Because we are using an E5 license, it has given her access to what? Exchange Online Plan 2. So this is how you find out what exchange plan a user is using. Okay, so if you open the user's pane and you come over to mail, even though the user has a license, you can come over to see the amount of space for her email storage. Email storage is different from cloud storage, guys. OneDrive storage is completely different from email storage, right? Your OneDrive storage is for your media files and all of that, but for your emails, where your emails will be dropping is your Exchange storage. Okay, and remember we talked about having Exchange Plan 1 for your business licenses and Exchange Plan 2 for your E5 license, and that is exactly why we have 100 GB of space, because we're using the ultimate license here. So this is exactly how we find out how much a user has consumed as well. Angel doesn't have a lot of emails. She has just consumed 3.6 out of 100 GB. So it's nothing. It's nothing at all. Okay. So the next thing we can look at here is mailbox permissions, but I do not want to rush into this because our head by now would have been oversaturated. I wouldn't want to rush into this because this is very crucial to your learning process. I will leave this to our next class so that by the time we are done understanding everything I have said, we can now come over to understanding mailbox permissions. But let me just briefly talk about it because we'll still see it during Exchange. When we head over to Exchange Online, we'll still see this part as well. And since we have a long holiday, I just remembered we have Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Monday and Tuesday, then Wednesday in the next class. We can always come back to it and understand it. So your mailbox permission is a very beautiful attribute or a very useful attribute for a user. Now, remember, if you are a user, for you to be able to log into your account, you require what? Your username, your password, and your authenticator, right? Your authenticator app for 2FA. Now, if I am Angel's manager, for example, or her senior colleague, and I do not want to go through that process to gain access to Angel's mail account because there are some emails that Angel receives that I would like to be on the know. I would like to know, what's going on so that I can also be in copy of that email. Even without myself being in copy of that email, I just want to get those emails, right? So I would need access to Angel's email box. And for me not to stress myself, I don't need to know Angel's password. I don't need to have Angel's 2FA application to be able to log into our account. So what will I do? I'll reach out to you. You are the IT admin right now, and I'll tell you, grant me access to Angel's account. You being the IT admin, you will head over to Angel. You will click on her account, her user account. As soon as it gets opened up like this, you will come over to mail, right? And you come over to mailbox permissions because now you are about to grant me permission to Angel's account. So the first permission is called read and manage. This looks like the ultimate permission. I can read emails. I can manage Angel's mailbox if you add me here. So I can go ahead and click on that. Okay, so you see, and add myself. You are the one adding me now. Remember, you are the IT person. Okay, so I add myself over here. So once I have done this, right, I will have access to Angel's mailbox to read and to manage. But there are some things I may not still be able to do. For example, send as. Now, maybe Angel went out on leave. She traveled for a sabbatical leave to gain some, experience in education and all of that on life. So I would need to respond emails as though I'm Angel. Okay, so if I come over here and click on send as and add myself here, it means that even if Angel is not around, I will have access to Angel's mailbox and I will be able to respond as though I am Angel. So that's why that permission is called send as. So I'm sending as Angel. Now the last but not the least is send on behalf of. Now, for example, I have access to Angel's email account and I am seeing the emails that are dropping in, and Angel is out of office. She has traveled for something. I can decide to respond to the email on behalf of Angel. So the user is going to see the person who responded as me, as Jenny, okay, not as Angel. Okay, but the user would understand that is either she's sending on behalf of Angel. Probably Angel is not around and I decided to reply on behalf of Angel. Okay, so that's exactly what that permission does. So I go ahead to do this. I add myself here. Okay. I add myself there and I now have full control over her email address. Okay, so I can read and manage her email account. I can send as though I'm Angel. They would not know that it's not Angel. They'll think it's Angel that's responding to the email. And I can send on behalf of Angel. Okay, so now because I have granted myself access to this, I do not need to know Angel's password. I do not need to have her 2FA application, her app. I don't need to have it because now the IT person, which is you, you've given me access to it as Angel's manager. So let me just show you how that works. Since I have granted myself access, or you being the IT person, you have granted me access to Angel's account. So let me go quickly to my email. Now, just in case you're in your admin center, do not forget your app launcher. Your app launcher can take you from the admin center to any of the apps that you would want to go into. So I want to go into my Outlook app. So let's take this seriously, guys. Let's take this seriously. Okay. The network is really slow. I really don't know. And this is a 5G. I guess 5G is not so strong in my area. So this is my mailbox. Okay. This is my mailbox. Because I'm signed in to office.com or admin.microsoft.com, I can just move from anywhere to anywhere. Even as I'm in Outlook, I can use the app launcher. I can move any other place, anywhere I want to go to. Okay. So now I am not Angel, I'm Jenny, but I am Angel's manager and I need access to Angel's mailbox without stress. I don't need to know her password. I don't need to have a 2FA account. All I just need is to gain access. So how do I do that? So while you are here, you can head over to this part that says what? Jenny. Okay, this is my profile, which is at the top right, and I can just scroll down, and where it says open another mailbox, I can come over here and I can type Angel. Okay, and it comes up and I can click on open. Now see what's gonna happen. Are you seeing that it's opening Angel's email address for me? Why is it opening Angel's email address for me? Even while you can still see that I am here. But this obviously is not my mailbox. This is Angel's mailbox. And that's because I have been granted permission by the IT person to have access to email accounts. So I can compose a new email. Okay, so sorry, it's actually delaying. I don't want us to dwell so much here. We'll take a break today and we're going to look at how we can send an email as though we are Angel. Okay, so I can send an email as though I'm Angel. I can manage her account. I can do anything I want to do. Why? Because I have been granted permission to Angel's account. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we're going to call it a day. Today we have explained how to configure 2FA, for a user. We have also seen how to create multiple accounts using your CSV, and we have looked at a user attributes. We've seen what a licensed user attribute can look like, from account to mail. We're still going to cover up every other thing in our next class, and probably touch on this again just a little bit for reminders sake, and we can now look at OneDrive. Okay, but for now, just go ahead and practice. Try to create multiple accounts, unlicensed accounts, using the CSV, okay, so that we do not deplete the license we already have. Just create the way I did. Make them unlicensed, create as multiple as you can, and try as much as you can to study the user attributes. You can even configure 2FA for yourself. You can just configure 2FA for yourself if you haven't done that. So this class, I believe, has been so insightful. It has given you a very good knowledge of user attributes, security measures you can take if a user account has been hacked, sign-in activities, and all of that. Okay, so thank you so very much. Enjoy your weekend. See you on Wednesday. Bye for now.